So one of the videos I wanted to share was one of the most powerful things, and this is where I believe that the two things link together, as in being and actually creating your reality, like purposefully creating your reality, like selecting something, creating it, versus just being and allowing. So I'm going to go into this more in another video because there's so much to say on this. And it's really the thing that I've been wanting to like fully get for a while, because there's the I am. And when you make your statements, I am beautiful, I'm young, I'm loved, or whatever. And then there's I, who is I? Is I the ego self, or is I higher self, right? So I've come to my own conclusions on this journey of manifesting from the I am, and I'll share that in the next video. But for this one, I wanted to say there's something that links those two things together for me, and it links nearly all spiritual practices, and it's non-reaction to your 3D external world, not allowing yourself to see that as the reality, but instead to understand your reality is within. So you create within and it shows up without. And where, you know, that for me was like the biggest shift. I mean, I've known it for a while, but I feel it's only really recently that I've actually fully been able to integrate and feel, and trust is the word. I feel like it's only recently that I've fully trusted that this comes first. And that is when we stop kind of chasing things in 3D reality. We start trying to fix things in 3D reality. We understand that it's done here. It's done through self-work, it's done through inner work, and it's done through non-reaction. Now, there's the one path which is the just being and allowing and just being love. And then there's the other path which is counter-affirming. So, you know, if someone rejects you, then you just say, oh, they accept me, they love me. And you constantly check your thoughts. And I think it's called a mental diet in the manifesting world. So I really do both. Honestly, I kind of flush between the two. Now, I think mental diet can actually be really important because it's all a part of the process of not allowing yourself to buy into your 3D reality, to know that that is a projection of what's going on inside of you. And mental diet, I think, can really help with that process, and it can help you see your negative thoughts more. Because I think in the beginning, if we don't do a mental diet, you're basically just wandering around and you're not really conscious, and you're not really bringing consciousness to all of your thoughts. And I know there's the method of just allowing thoughts and then pushing them away, well, not pushing them away, but allowing them to float through, and the being kind of method. And you know what? I honestly think both work. I think both bring you to the same place. Both bring you to a place of, you know, not reacting to a 3D and understanding that you create from your inner world. And I really think it's down to what you personally want to do. And that's the thing with all these practices. They're things that we all try and they work for some of us and other things work for other people. I personally flip-flop a bit between the two. So sometimes I feel like it's really important to have a mental diet, and sometimes I feel like it's really just about being. Or maybe when you sustain a certain level of mental diet, being is a natural state, and it comes from sort of neutralizing all your negative beliefs and thoughts. I do think there's something quite powerful, especially early on in the journey or midway in the journey, of really observing your negative beliefs and thought patterns and why you're creating certain things and where they're coming from. Although I do think being is the ultimate state, I think that being sort of requires non-attachment to thoughts, and sometimes that path of of neutralizing in that way and observing them in that way and checking yourself can actually be really good, because you're not just doing it in moments as well, you're doing it all the time. So I do find mental diet important. I also enjoy scripting. There are a few things that I enjoy. It doesn't really matter what process you do. The aim of all of this stuff really is just not to attach or to react or to give any reactional experience to your 3D reality, to understand that it's just showing you aspects of yourself that you need to integrate. However you want to integrate it, I think we all have our own little methods. And the thing is, like, nobody really has all the answers, you know, else we wouldn't all have different approaches and different, you know, I'm somebody that has tried so many different approaches, and that works for me because I want to try everything and I want to blend and make some kind of blend of them all. And other people, you know, it's quite good for them to just find something that works and to stick to it and teach that. And but yeah, the key link between all of them is that taking ownership from within and not digging in or attaching to your 3D experience, especially when it's one you don't want to experience. It's like, once you give it emotion, you're kind of bringing it into reality. So if you give a negative belief that's starting to manifest emotion, then you're just going to get more of it. And if you say, no, I'm not going to actually even acknowledge that. And that you can do that by just being, or you can do that by that mental diet way of like, okay, I can see that's a negative belief and I'm just going to keep affirming the opposite. But the key is the non-reaction to the 3D, and understanding that it's just showing you something about yourself. And it's really hard, like, especially when it's somebody that really triggers you, or a family member, or even worse when it's like a specific person, right, that you have a really strong connection to. And it's really hard to not project it onto them. But they are, you know, we can start to think of people in our experiences like dolls, really, that are just aspects of ourselves that are being tasked to show up in a certain way to help you resolve your inner shadows. And some of those shadows are really tough, you know, especially when they include rejection and like third parties and all these kinds of things. But by reacting to it, by emotionally responding and giving it any credibility in your 3D reality, you are just creating it, you're keeping it real. The sooner you give it non-reaction, and I think we've all been there where we've sat there and we've been like, oh my God, did this person like this person? And then we start to see, you know, them getting loads of likes and there's activity, and those worries become real, and then you stop giving that person any attention and they just float away from your person that you're interested in. You just see that person that you're worried about, like, they just disappear because you stop feeding into that reality. You stop like feeding them with energy. And that's pretty much the same with everything. Once you stop feeding the things you don't want with energy, they're just going to evaporate and they're just going to go, and you're just going to then you can feed the things that you do want with energy. And I think this is where being has the same thing, because you're just, being is a sense of joy and presence and peacefulness and bliss. So if that's what you're feeling, that's what you're going to bring in. So, you know, you don't have to necessarily affirm the opposite. Sometimes I think that when you've got really strong negative beliefs, it's a good counterbalance. But at some point, just being is enough. And just feeling that inner joy, because that is going to bring you, you know, it's really just the non-reaction that we want to get away from, and whatever method works for you. So yeah, I hope this video is helpful, and I'll speak up soon.